So, how do we measure economic growth? The GDP is the total market value of the final goods and services produced by the nation's economy over a set period of time, usually a quarter or a year. It's a pretty simple equation actually. GDP is a measure of the production of goods and services, which include consumer goods and services, capital equipment like new computers for the office, government infrastructure like bridges and roads, plus goods and services sold to overseas markets. And what does this tell us? These days, many people say it doesn't tell us much that's meaningful at all.
We will always need our system of national accounts. It's important to know all of the things that the national accounts tell us for managing the economy. What we're saying is that it's a gross mistake to use GDP, which is a component of the national accounts, as sort of a summary measure of the national accounts, as a measure of national well-being, and we need something different.
Nobody thinks that this is a perfect way of measuring growth, but nobody's thought of a better way of doing so. Measuring incomes, you might say, does not incorporate all the things that we value, that we treasure, and measuring expenditures also doesn't do that. But nobody's thought of a better way to actually bring all the things that we value into one bottom line figure so we know how we're doing.
Even the Australian Bureau of Statistics recognises and acknowledges that GDP is not a good measure of national progress. And so the ABS has a project going now called Measuring Australia's Progress, which is developing a suite of indicators which together will give a much more comprehensive and accurate picture of where we are going as a nation.
It's not the perfect measure, but it's as good as we've got. And once we start departing from the GDP and putting in personal views about, well, I think that, we ought to include the quality of our rivers in there, or the quality of our air, or the amount of land we've got that we can purchase. Then you start putting views in which are not easily tested. Some people think that the quality of our rivers is a very important attribute that they would pay for. Others couldn't care less. Most people value cleaner air, but some people value it more than others.
What do you guys think you're doing?
We're making you richer.
Oh yeah? How's that?
We're adding to the GDP. We learnt that in economics class.
Really?
Yeah, well, first we bought the paint, right, to spray the wall, and now someone's going to have to buy cleaner, and then the council's going to have to pay the cleaner to clean it off.
It's all counting the GDP, We're contributing to economic growth.
Oh. Get on with it then. This is one of the main problems with the GDP, according to its critics. It doesn't distinguish between positive activities, like, say, growing food for consumers, and negative or defensive activities, like cleaning off tags. If a drunk drives his car through the front fence of your house, causing damage which needs repair, he's actually added to the GDP, making you statistically a bit better off. For example, if you do your own laundry each week, the only impact you have on the GDP is the purchase of laundry detergent. The time and effort taken to wash and iron your own clothes isn't included in the GDP, simply because it's not paid for.